Welcome to this episode of The Real on Real Estate, where the NW Home Experts team adorns your perspective with real facts, collaborates with local experts to find the real truths, and equips you with the real tools you need to flourish in today's real estate market.
Welcome back to The Real on Real Estate. This is episode 4. I am Kelly with the NW Home Experts team here in the great state of Washington. And today I have Nikki Shrum on the show with me. Nikki, thank you for joining.
Hi, thanks for having me, Kelly. I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. Me and, well, just me, and Charlie. Charlie's here with us too. He's in the corner. He's our producer. You met him in episode 3. If you didn't meet him in episode 3, you should go back and meet him again. But let's talk about you today, Nikki.
Okay.
Tell me just kind of like, this is just like a get to know you segment because you will be on the podcast multiple times. So I really want the people that follow us to kind of know us authentically who we are when we have other people that join us and accompany the conversation. So tell us just kind of who you are, where you're from, what you like to do.
Sure. So I am originally from the great state of Alaska. And then I was raised up there, did a lot of, my dad was really great about, I can't throw a ball to save my life. So, the sports teams were pretty much out for me. So my dad, got me into like rock climbing and winter mountaineering and stuff like that. And then, somewhere in my early 20s, it got a little too cold up there. So, I moved to Seattle and I've been down here since, 1999. And, still doing the same kind of stuff. I like to hike. I do a little bit of rock climbing. I don't really do the mountaineering stuff anymore. I hit an age where I learned to not want to die. So I'm not as adventurous as I used to be. But I still do a little bit of that. Really big into my family. I've got 2 dogs, 2 cats. Like to do stuff outside. I also knit and crochet. Cold state, you do warm crafty things. Mm-hmm. So
warm indoor crafty things.
Yes.
Yeah,
warm indoor crafty things. So
yeah. Well, welcome to Washington.
Thank
I know
you.
You've been here for like probably longer than I have been here, but still welcome.
Thank you.
To Washington.
Yeah, it's home now. There's always going to be like back home, and I have a lot of pride in being from Alaska. But I'm a Washingtonian now. I like it a little bit warmer.
Yeah. A little bit warmer.
A little bit warmer.
It is so cold here. It's all a matter of perspective.
It is.
Which is actually something we'll kind of touch on later. So I'm glad that we had that initial conversation about perspective. But anyways, let's get into real estate.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did you do before real estate? Because I know real estate is kind of something that a lot of people tend to, it might be a second career for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
So I always like to hear, okay, well, that's really cool. You're in real estate. What did you do before?
So my first initial career after school and everything was working in group homes. I worked with foster kids up in Alaska, and then I did some work down here for another company that also did long-term foster care group homes. And then I just, you can only deal with that kind of stuff for so long before it either starts to wear you down or you become jaded. And for me, I felt like if I was heading towards either of those, I wasn't doing anybody a service. So I decided to leave that. And then I didn't know what to do. I designed koi ponds for a while.
That's cool.
And yeah, it was cool. It was weird because I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I could go on. I'm a bit of a chatterer. So I did that and, just trying to figure out what my next career was. And then that company had some financial issues. So I ended up selling timeshares. Please don't judge me. I needed to pay my rent. So
I love my timeshare.
That's good.
Yeah, it's great.
I had people yelling at me in the mall that I was ruining their mother's life.
No.
So, there's that timeshare stigma, right? But that kind of got me into sales a little bit and realizing that there was a lot of similarities to what I've been doing in my past career working, in counseling and therapy, of making that connection with people and helping them, right? Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to stay doing that for too long. That was pretty brutal. And so from there, I ended up going into property management. And I got a job as a concierge at a really nice building in downtown Seattle. And my nickname was Package Bitch because I handled all of the packages. So, heavy on the Amazon. So I got really buff, actually, because I was moving, like, this is a brand new building.
Yeah.
So I'm moving, like, memory foam mattresses by myself, TVs, people ordering bikes. So that was how I got started. And I also got to plan really fun events. So I was a big part of resident retention. Like, I got really into that, right?
Oh, that sounds fun.
So I had a huge budget. So I was having catered events. We had a speakeasy in our building. So it was like, come up for craft cocktails. Like
a real one, or that you like made?
No, it was a real speakeasy. Like, this wall was hidden. And you would have to know where to push. And then it opened up from this really modern building, and you were in the 1920s. Like,
oh, wow.
Copper top bar. Oh my God. I fell in love.
Is it still there?
It's still there.
Oh,
yeah.
we're going to have to talk after. I love speakeasies.
But I fell in love with real estate then at that time. And it was multifamily housing. And so I was like, this is it. This is going to be my career. I'm going to be a regional. I'm going to be a VP. And so I went from concierge, I went from being the package bitch, and I got promoted to being a leasing agent. And I really loved that. I loved connecting with people. And I was connecting people from all over the world, all walks of life. Seattle was like booming at the time. People were coming in from different countries, different parts of the US to all work for like the big tech companies here.
Yeah.
Met the coolest people, had amazing food that they would bring me. So I got to build these relationships, and they were there for like a year, and then they would leave. And that made me really sad when they would leave. Like, I cried a couple times when people left. And so from there, from leasing, I really worked hard, and I got promoted to an assistant property manager, and then I got into the property manager, right? And that was a different shift for me. That was heavy on. I was doing financials for multi-million-dollar buildings. I was reporting back to the investors. It was just completely different than working with people.
Okay.
And the pandemic hit, and it just got kind of squirrely. People were, feeling really, there was a lot of sadness. There was a lot of stress, and being a property manager, you're no longer meeting people and showing them houses and getting them a home. Like, you're dealing with like the problems and the money and all of that. And that really got away from my core values of what I wanted to do. So I made a point at that decision at that time. And also Alaska was kicking back in. I thought I was going to want to live in downtown Seattle for the rest of my life. But I hit a point where I wanted a little bit smaller. I wanted things to be smaller. They had felt really, really big and out of my control during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I had 300 and something residents, and I don't have kids, but I mother everybody. And it got to be too much of like trying to take care of everybody. So I decided to refocus back to what I originally fell in love with, which was helping people find a home.
Yeah.
And making it feel good for them, and making it feel like they had made a good, informed decision, right?
Okay.
So I moved down to Olympia, and I started working as basically it was a bookkeeping position. I ran another brokerage. I ran all of their financial stuff and helped out with the staffing and a little bit with the recruiting while I was studying for my license. Got my license last March. And quit that job, and I've been doing real estate full time since then. And I love being back in helping people find their home, getting to know them on a personal level. I'm not a transactional person. Like, I still have residents that I still talk to from years ago.
Yeah.
From my apartment days. So yeah, no, I love helping people. Like, that's been my whole thing, my whole life is helping other people, right? Especially when you've come through some struggles yourself. I fully believe that if you've gone through hard things, you should be more kind to people, right? You know what it's like to be down or be stressed out or whatever. So I try to take those times, learn from them, and figure out how to help other people better.
Yeah. You can definitely have more empathy for people when you've been through it.
I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to become bitter, right? I want to take those, I want to learn from them, and I want to help other people through those lessons.
Right. Well, I love that story, because it sounds like you started out doing something that you loved, kind of got off course for bigger and better dreams.
Yes.
Realized that you were off course for yourself, and then came back shifted direction, but got back to yourself, and now you're in real estate and you love it again.
I do. I mean, it really came down to where, I had told myself that, I want to be a regional, I want to be a VP. But at that point, it was chasing an antiquated idea in money.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, money is great, but it's not going to make you happy, right? You've got to do the other things that are going to make you happy. And then if you've got money, that's even better.
Yeah.
So, I just had to refocus and get back to me.
Right.
Real estate helped me get back to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So, you haven't been a real estate agent for too long now.
No.
Which is awesome. Me either. Tell me and anybody listening, watching, you came over to EXP. So EXP is the brokerage that we work with. It is the umbrella for NW Home Experts.
Yep.
There are a lot of different brokerages out there, and a lot of them work in a lot of different ways.
Yes.
So tell me in your own words, like, what was it about EXP in particular that you kind of like drew your attention and brought you over to us?
Well, I mean, obviously a big part of what brought me into EXP is the group that we work with right here in our office. I unfortunately, what I've seen, and not just like at the brokerages, the past brokerage that I was at, but talking to other agents that have come from a wide variety of brokerages, there's a lot of gatekeeping that happens, right? Like people get into the business and then they work up to the point where they're a top agent, but they don't tell you how they got to be a top agent, right? Like you get all this recruit, and then that's it. Like you get in there and then you're just wandering around with your laptop looking lost on the bottom floor of the brokerage trying to figure out, someone to help you, someone to tell you what to do. How do I talk to these people? Where do I find people to talk to? So for me, EXP really offered that, the online support, like 24/7, I can reach out to somebody, at midnight and be like, this deal is going sideways and there will be someone there to help me.
Yeah.
There's marketing tools in there. Like I'm a Gen Xer, man. Like I'm not like tech savvy all the time. I need some help. And EXP has brought everything to me.
Yeah.
Like, if I need marketing stuff, it's there. If I need a broker that knows more than me, it's there. And then you bring that in smaller, right? And I've got the team here. We're all at different stages in our career and it's very collaborative. Like EXP has been nothing but collaborative with me since I've gotten here. It's been very satisfying. And I've mentioned this before, like, I worked in counseling and I loved that job. I loved working with those kids. I worked in property management. I was in corporate America for a really long time. This is the only place, and I've been here a couple months now with the team here at EXP, that I have come to work happy every morning. I wake up excited to go to work. And no matter what happens during the day, because it's not perfect, things happen, right? It's not like real estate. Real estate is not TV, okay? It's not. It's a lie. If that's what you're thinking, do some more research. But at the end of the day, even with everything anything that may go wrong, I still feel good about what I'm doing and I go home happy at night. Like I don't go home and, before in the past, I go home and I'd like vent to the family. And now it's like something went a little weird. I talked to them, but there was a solution that was available to me, from the people that I work with or things that I've learned on my own. I don't know. I'm happy. I am consistently happy with everything here.
Yeah, I would say that's been very much mirrored my experience here too. Yeah. I mean, our group is great here at NW Home Experts. Not going to be biased or toot our own horns, but we're pretty great. I mean, even if you have a problem, what I've just noticed is we all rally around each other to say, hey, regardless of the outcome of whatever, if this deal falls apart, you're going to get through this.
Exactly.
Right? Like
exactly.
It feels like the world is falling or the sky is falling and your world's falling apart, but it's not.
No,
we're gonna get out. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get through this, and I know there's been some emotional things for me. I probably have gone into Charlie's office like a couple of times, almost on the verge of tears, and he's been like, "You're gonna be fine."
Charlie's great. We love Charlie.
Yeah, and then on the extra, the EXP support team.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
It's insane, and I'm also a gamer. Like I like to play video games, so the world with the little avatars, I'm all about that. Yeah. So anytime anybody comes in that's like, oh, that's weird, I'm like, no, no, this is cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoy that. Some people think it's goofy, but I
also like it.
I like the video game
I'm not
feel.
a gamer. I think
I'm
it's
not
cool,
gonna
though.
lie. I've been to the little fire pit and all the little extra fun things where you don't talk to anybody, you just go and do it. So yeah, they've got like boats that you can race in there.
Oh, I've totally done that too.
It's so much fun, although they're really hard to drive. But
yeah.
I digress.
Yeah.
No, everything about it's just the world is really, really cool. I like that tech piece.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I find like the EXP world is very engaging, much more engaging
Yes.
than if I were to just be like on a Zoom call with somebody. I don't know why. Maybe it's just.
And it's fast too.
Yeah.
I mean, you go in there and like you need something, and within seconds, most of the time, someone is there helping you. And if they can't help you, then they're getting somebody else on the phone.
Yeah.
Like it really is. I mean, especially for a new agent with the amount of support that we need, because we don't know what we don't know, right? EXP has literally taken those gates and kicked them down. Like there's no gatekeeping here.
Yeah.
Like anytime I have a question, if there's something that I'm interested in, if I want to learn about what's going on in Dubai real estate, they just had a webinar on that. Like I love that. I love that there's such a wide variety. The problem that I run into is wanting to eat that pie all at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm really having to kind of focus in on a couple of pieces and not try to eat the whole thing.
Right.
So there's a lot to offer here. Whatever you want to do in real estate, it's here at EXP.
Yeah. And then you just said something, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And I want to kind of go back to you being a new agent.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think, if you're not around this space, it really is you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So this is going to be more for like the newer agents or anybody thinking of getting into real estate. What are some of the obstacles that you first encountered being a new agent just right out the gate?
Well, there was a couple things. One thing, and this is definitely my fault, after spending so many years in property management, I assumed that they were going to be pretty much identical, and they're not. They're very different. So I came in a little cocky, I think, thinking, oh, I got this. I was, running these companies in Seattle. And then I was humbled a little bit, because it is different. It's different than what I was doing. It's a different type of sales. You've got to talk to people in a different way, right? So that for me was like just learning how to talk to people as far as like houses and residential stuff as opposed to the multifamily. So I had to learn a new set of skills there. And then there was something else. The forms, pay attention to the forms, like the contracts, like it's a lot. So I think for me of like getting a good mentor that'll help you with those scripts, help you with that practice of like how to talk to people, how to frame things, what you need to talk about. Get a good lender that you can go ask questions of. Like buy down points, I feel like that could be a whole episode on its own.
Yeah.
Getting someone that you can trust on the lending piece, getting to know those forms, and then getting a good mentor or a team that will help you with those script practice, right? To help you learn how to talk about real estate in an intelligent way that is reassuring to your clients is really, really important. That is my thing. And being patient with yourself, right?
Right.
And, realizing like, I was talking to Ronnie, he also works with us, and I was talking about what he does, and he's like, you don't read a book 1,000 pages at a time. He's like, right now you're new, you read that book maybe 2 or 3 pages. And I'm one of those people, I'm really hard on myself. I want to have the whole thing read when I pick it up. So I've had to learn to be more patient with myself too. Like, I think that's really, really important, especially if you're coming from, an adjacent career or something that was similar, of just realizing that it's new, go back to that. I think about the first few days, the first few months of being a concierge, and how little I knew. And then when I was a leasing agent, how little I knew, and so I have to keep reminding myself that time takes time.
Right.
So you come to work, you work it like a job, you do it every day, you do the things that you're supposed to do, you put in that learning, it's going to come, and it's going to come quicker than you realize. But you got to put in the time too.
Yeah. And then you're going to get to the top, and then you're going to be at the bottom again. Yeah. Because the bottom's just the top.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the top is just the bottom.
There's always a new, mountain to climb.
Right. Absolutely. So it sounds like you just covered your obstacles as well as giving us some really good advice.
Yeah.
But what is on the day-to-day of being a successful real estate agent? What would you say are like some key takeaways that you've noticed to help your own practice grow?
For me, it's coming into the office every day. I mean, this job gives us a whole lot of freedom, right?
Yeah.
There's agents that work from home. There's agents that come into the office. For me, coming into the office every day, being at my desk, being around other people that are doing real estate, it's just, it's being around people that are working at a higher level than I am. And if I'm alone at my house or in my car or whatever, there's no one else that's going to raise me to their level. It's just me. So I make sure that I'm here every day. I'm on those calls every day. I'm doing the trainings every day. I'm reading what's recommended by the other people on the team. Just coming in and be an empty cup, right? Because you're new. Like, get rid of all the old stuff, empty it out, and let people that you can trust fill it up for you, right?
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. People that you trust.
Yes.
Because as a new agent, or even as a seasoned agent, we are always getting sold things.
Yes.
People are always soliciting us. So as a new agent, it's like every week is something new and shiny.
Yep.
And it's kind of hard to figure out, okay, well, should I do this, or should I do this, or should I do that, or should I do that? And then you spend 6 months just even trying to figure out what's the one thing I can do to get the ball rolling. So yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, when I left my last brokerage and came here, I actually went online and I Googled, there was, I can't remember what page it was, but I Googled questions to ask when you're interviewing at a new brokerage. Like, I pulled it up and I brought it in, and I sat down and I added new questions because I'd spent 8 months at another brokerage, and it was just, it wasn't clicking for me, right? Like, other people were doing really well, but it wasn't the right fit for me. Yeah. So when I came to EXP, I came prepared. I had a better idea of what to ask. And then I also went and asked, I looked online to see what other people thought were important questions, and I asked those questions. I think it's really important to not go with the first person that tries to sell you something, because like you said, we're all in sales, and there's a lot of people with really good pitches out there, but there's a lot of gatekeeping. You talk to a lot of agents that have been at multiple brokerages, and they all have the same complaint. So I think it's really important. You're excited. You've got that license in hand. You're ready to go.
Yeah.
And you just want to do it now because you're excited. But I think taking time to really figure out where you're comfortable, like go in, it's not like corporate America. You can shadow, like go in and ask, see how they talk to their clients, see how they talk to the agents. If you're on a team, see how their splits are, see how ask how they're handing out leads.
Yeah.
That's a really big one, because as a new agent, they may not give you great leads, so you want to make sure that you're being taken care of, that you're comfortable, that it's a good fit for you.
Yeah.
My last brokerage, there was a lot of people that it was a really good fit for. It was not a good fit for me. Like, make sure you find what works for you, because if you've got a friend in real estate or somebody that got you into it, what works for them may not work for you.
Yeah.
Such
is life.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that you you wrote down those questions and stuff,
absolutely.
because really, unless you're in the industry, whatever industry it may be, you're not going to know what questions to ask. So that's really good advice. If you're looking to get into real estate, make sure you do a little bit of background work,
Yeah.
Not just like a split-second decision. Oh, I want to be an agent today.
Yeah. I mean, because you're going to get hit everywhere. You come in the morning, what are your emails? They're all sales pitches.
All
and then
of
there's a few from your clients.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pitches coming at you.
It's a new experience.
Figure out what you want to swing at. Don't swing at everything.
Yeah.
Don't swing at every pitch.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So we cover a lot, which is great. I kind of want to get, though, into a little bit more what your dreams are for real estate as you progress in this industry. Where do you see yourself going?
So for me, one of my big passions, and like I said, I'm still pretty new, right? It's about the journey. Like, I have an idea of where I want to go. It may change, but what I've really felt passionate about, coming from multifamily housing was green, multi-story family housing. There's an architect that my wife actually follows that she got me into from France, and he does green design, and that's something that I feel is really important right now, and I think that would would fit in well in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm really trying to get focused on eventually. Like that's an end goal for me, is to bring sustainable multifamily housing, you know, and there's some really beautiful designs out there. So that's something I've actually sent him a couple emails. One of these days, that guy is gonna bite, and he's gonna respond to me, because we just keep bugging him.
Fortune is in the follow-up.
So exactly, absolutely.
Yeah, in Washington State, I think would be more than welcome to accept any sort of sustainability. We are such a green state.
Well,
like literally such a green state.
So green. Honestly, when I moved here from Alaska, it used to freak me out a little bit.
Oh, really? How green everything is?
Yeah, because up there, I mean, 9 months out of the year, it was blindingly white.
Yeah.
You know, even our evergreens were frosted up there. So yeah, it kind of tripped me out a little bit when I moved here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I think that can be like kind of a hold up for some people, because they don't, when we talk like we have trees, they're like, yeah, you have trees.
No,
and
they
then
have
they
no
get here
idea.
and they're like, oh, you guys have trees.
We have trees.
And mountains.
Yeah.
I love in the Midwest where they talk about like the rolling hills as mountains. I'm like, yeah, those are cool mountains.
Yeah.
I used to live there. I can say that.
I've been there. I was originally born in Colorado, been to Kansas, been to Oklahoma. Very, very flat. It did something weird with like my lizard brain. I felt exposed. I'm used to being in the woods.
Like nothing for miles around.
Yeah. It was very strange.
Mm-hmm.
So
they still have real estate though.
They're
do. Still selling
absolutely. And it's beautiful. It was just so different than what I was raised with.
Yeah, same. I always thought Missouri in the fall time was like, unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
Unbelievable. But so that being said, now we kind of got to like where your dreams are and everything. We talk about a lot in real estate having niches, or like I don't even know, like a niche. Do you have a niche or a niche, however you want to say
right?
it?
I'm always confused on that
Yeah.
one. So I mean, right now, you know, I'm still learning, so I'm focusing on like mostly single family residential right now. But my big thing is diversity in housing, right? Being part of the LGBT community, it's really important. You know, that's a close to my heart kind of subject. So, you know, I want to be available to people that are moving to the area that are part of that community. And then, you know, I think diversity as a whole, right? That was something that Seattle really taught me, because I worked with people, like I said, from all over the world, all over the country. So, you know, that's something I really, really enjoy. And I'm a big proponent of fair housing. So just, you know, making sure that everybody is getting their needs met. You know, housing is like that base of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like it's part of the security. Like it keeps you warm, keeps you dry. It keeps you from, you know, the elements.
Right.
And so that's, you know, going back to, you know, my previous careers of just focusing on helping people. So that diversity aspect is really important to me.
Yeah.
So just helping people know that, you know, they can trust me, that they're, you know, it's a judgment-free zone where we're just going to find them a house. You're a person, and I'm going to treat you that way.
Yeah. No, that's great. Right. The world needs more of that for sure. And it sounds like you have a great heart. So you're perfect for the job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Charlie, how are we for time? 27 minutes. Perfect timing, Nikki. I have just one more question before we get off. This is a segment that I'm going to call the crystal ball segment. And I'm implementing right now. I just decided that we're doing this with every guest that comes on.
Okay.
We are getting into 2024.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on what the market may do? Imagine like you have a crystal ball.
Okay.
What's going to happen?
Get that up here and take a look. I'm really excited about 2024, actually. You know, it's been kind of rough transitioning out of that whole like COVID-induced low interest rate frenzy. Right now, you know, people got kind of scared. And I think that 2024, we're going to see a lot more inventory. We're seeing those rates come down. I think 2024 is going to be a great time to buy that dream house. You know, if you're looking to sell and, you know, move to another state, whatever you're looking to do in real estate, I think 2024 is going to be a good year for that. I think interest rates are coming down. I think we're going to start seeing more inventory come. I'm really excited about 2024, and I hope that the rest of you are as well. You know, like, you know, despite what you're hearing on the media, like houses are still, you know, they're still going up. Like they're still gaining value. Like I think 2024 is going to be a great year. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. We're going to have to like run it back and see what
Absolutely.
happens in 2020. This time next year, we'll run it back.
Yeah.
See what happens.
I think it's going to be good.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, that wraps up episode 4. Nikki, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
I really enjoyed it, Kelly. And thank all of you for taking the time to listen to me.
Yeah. And if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit subscribe. If you are listening on any sort of podcast platform, make sure you follow. Feel free to rate us. I'm Kelly, and this is The Real on Real Estate. If you're interested in finding more information related to real estate, you can connect with any one of us at nwhomeexperts.com. From that site, you will be able to connect with us and start your next home search. We will be back in 2 weeks approximately for another episode of The Real on Real Estate.